Benjamin Franklin did it. Bill Gates still does it. Oprah has talked about it. And none of them called it the 5-hour rule. That name came later. But the habit was always the same. 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, set aside for nothing but deliberate learning. Not meetings, not emails, not scrolling. Just reading, reflecting, and thinking. That's it. 5 hours a week. And somehow that simple habit separates the people who keep growing from the people who stay exactly where they are. Here's the uncomfortable part. You probably already knew learning was important. You've heard it before. Read more. Invest in yourself. Grow every day. And yet most people don't do it. Not really. So the question isn't whether the 5-hour rule works. The question is why smart, motivated people keep skipping it and what it actually costs them when they do. Chapter 1. What the 5-hour rule actually is. The idea is simple. Every week, no matter how busy life gets, you protect 5 hours for deliberate learning. Not passive consumption, not podcasts in the background while you cook. Deliberate, focused, intentional. You read something that challenges you. You reflect on what you learned. You experiment with applying it. That last part matters more than people think. Reading alone isn't the rule. The rule has 3 parts: input, reflection, and application. Most people only do the first one. They read the book, feel smart for a week, and then the idea disappears because it never had anywhere to land. Reflection is where ideas become beliefs. Application is where beliefs become results. Skip either step and you've just collected information. Information you already forgot. Chapter 2. Why your brain is lying to you about time. Here's what happens when you tell someone about the 5-hour rule. They nod, they agree it sounds important, and then they say they don't have time. 5 hours a week. That's 43 minutes a day. The average person spends over 3 hours a day on their phone. The time exists. It's just currently assigned to something else. But there's a deeper problem than time. It's what psychologists call productivity bias. Your brain is wired to value visible output over invisible growth. Sending emails feels productive. Answering messages feels productive. Sitting quietly with a book feels like you're falling behind. So you keep doing the urgent, visible things and keep postponing the important, invisible ones, day after day, year after year. And then one day you look up and wonder why everyone around you seems to be moving faster. The brutal truth is this: skills compound. Knowledge compounds. Every hour you invest in learning today makes you more capable tomorrow. But the reverse is also true. Every year you spend not learning is a year your ceiling quietly lowers. Chapter 3. What successful people actually do differently. It's not that successful people have more hours. They don't. It's that they treat learning like a non-negotiable appointment instead of something they'll get to eventually. Eventually never comes. You already know that. Warren Buffett spends roughly 80% of his day reading and thinking. When people ask him how to replicate his success, he points to that habit first. Not discipline, not sacrifice, reading and thinking. Bill Gates takes 2 dedicated learning weeks every year, completely offline, just books and ideas. Oprah credits her reading habit as the single biggest driver of her personal growth. These aren't coincidences, they're data points. What they all understand is something most people don't. Your job gets you paid today. Learning gets you paid for the next decade. Optimizing only for today's output is how smart people accidentally build a ceiling above themselves. Chapter 4. The tax of not learning. Here's something nobody talks about. Not learning has a cost. It's just a slow one, so it's easy to ignore. When you stop growing, you don't stay the same. The world keeps moving, and your relative position quietly falls. The skills that got you here won't get you to the next level. They keep you comfortable right where you are. until they don't even do that anymore. Think about it like physical fitness. If you stop exercising, you don't stay at your current fitness level. You gradually lose what you built. Knowledge works exactly the same way. The field evolves, new tools emerge, new ways of thinking develop. And the person who isn't deliberately learning is slowly becoming less useful without ever feeling it happening. This is the tax, paid in slow motion, in missed opportunities you never even saw, in rooms you weren't equipped to enter, in problems you couldn't solve because the thinking required was thinking you never did. Chapter 5, How to Actually Start. 5 hours a week sounds manageable until Monday arrives. So here's how to make it real instead of theoretical. First, schedule it like a meeting. 1 hour a day, 5 days a week in your calendar, with a start time and an end time. Not someday, not when things calm down. Specific days, specific times. If it isn't scheduled, it isn't real. Second, pick one topic and go deep. Not 5 books on 5 different subjects. One subject, multiple angles, sustained attention. Depth beats breadth every time. You're trying to build a new mental model, not collect facts. Third, add the reflection step most people skip. At the end of each session, write down one thing you learned and one way you could use it. 2 sentences, that's it. The act of writing forces your brain to actually process what it just consumed instead of letting it evaporate. Fourth, lower the bar on bad days. Your minimum viable learning session is 10 minutes with a real book and a notepad. That's enough to keep the habit alive when everything else is falling apart. Slip, don't skip. The 5-hour rule won't change your life this week. It won't even change it this month. But a year from now, the person who protected those 5 hours every week will be thinking differently, seeing differently, and doing things the person who skipped it simply cannot do yet. The gap is invisible at first. Then suddenly, it isn't. You already know time is passing. The only question is what you're exchanging it for.